In the year 2012, the rap scene has made a major shift for many years to come. A subgenre of rap emerged called drill music. Chief Keef pioneered, spearheaded, and led a whole new generation of talent for years to come, with the single I Don't Like coming into fold after his breakout success. He gave the perfect stage for the Chicago drill artists to display their talents. In the midst of this new wave, another emerging star came about.
What's your name once again for the people out there in Zach TV One Land?
I'm from Chicago, Illinois, man. Lil Durk, Inglewood area, whole city, man. Like I said, we out here rapping, doing our thing. Got a big buzz, man. Trying to stay tuned, get rich.
Lil Durk. Although the movement had a pool of talent and acts that stood out tremendously, Durk stood out clear as day with his flamboyant style mixed with melodies and gangster persona. It set him aside from the other acts. This led him to be the voice of the streets. Chicago has influenced a generation of years to come, from dissing the dead, smoking on ops, spinning blocks, blatantly dissing other sides with a K at the end. It all started with Lil Jojo dropping a BDK, an answer to Durk's L's anthem, which bluntly dissed each other's opposition. Lil Jojo being a gangster disciple, dissing the black disciples, and Lil Durk dissing the gangster disciples, with him representing the black disciples. Lil Durk represents the streets thoroughly. He remained one of the only few relevant artists from that era. A decade later, he survived many wars, street beefs, rap beefs, the law, and death while climbing his way to the top. From the streets of Chicago, all the way to platinum hits, Grammy Awards, and chart-topping artist, he remained authentic to his roots. Everything he pursued about himself, he lived it thorough, through the good and bad. Here's the story of Lil Durk. Durk Derek Banks, born on October 1992, known professionally as Lil Durk, is a rapper from the Chicago, Illinois. He's from the Inglewood section of Chicago. His father, Big Durk, was a well-known gangster affiliated with Larry Hoover and was arrested when he was very young.
You know what I'm saying? Definitely because my daddy was who he was, you know what I'm saying? He was a big guy to the streets, you know what I'm saying? He was going 22 years, so everybody used to just be like, Durk, yeah, I know your daddy. I was like, all right, nah, I'm finna go this rap route, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I want everybody to remember me through this music. You know what I'm saying? I want to be stamped like, oh, he did for his community too. Durk, yeah, he ain't just leave the city when he got on. You know what I'm saying? I just want everybody to remember me in a positive way.
Safe to say, Lil Durk was born into the lifestyle. With his mother working a lot and his father being in jail, Durk turned into the streets. He's a part of the Black Disciples gang formed in Chicago. While growing up active and outside getting in trouble with the law in the midst, he began to establish a presence on social media, channels like MySpace and YouTube. He grew fond of the idea of being a rapper as his online fan base started to expand. Durk started taking his career more seriously after becoming a father at the age of 17. With Chief Keef blowing up, and despite them being on the same side and coming up together, Durk veered off to do his own thing at the difference between him and Keef. Apparently, while Keef blew up, he didn't bail Lil Durk out. After the local success of L's anthem and Keef blowing up, it landed him and Lil Reese a record deal with the legendary Def Jam Records. This is the era where having a major record deal was a sign of making it. They were the first acts from Chicago to be signed under Def Jam directly, with no other imprint involved. With the mainstream support and the drill scene emerging, sky was the limit. He began releasing mixtapes and videos consistently from 2012 on, harnessing his fan base. In the year 2014, he earned himself on a XXL freshman cover. He was also co-signed by French Montana, which was arguably the hottest rapper around the time. The co-sign moved him forward past fellow drill artists. Most Chicago artists plateaued, but Durk always moved forward. His harmony, his sound, his cadence was just different from the other acts. See, the other Chicago rappers rapped about killing and drugs and violence, but Durk did it in a melodic way that could cross over. He collaborated with Dej Loaf with a duet style type of music, and it's rumored that they was actually dating, and this continued to expand his fan base. The label would release his debut studio album, Remember My Name, in 2015, and Lil Durk 2X in 2016. Eventually, he departed with the label in 2018. Although dropping a studio album was a step forward, it was a failure on paper due to low record sales. With him being a seasoned veteran in the game, the release of him from Def Jam was a blessing in disguise. He continued to drop singles and mixtapes, showing his growth and not being stunted by the label releases. He continued to blossom, collaborate with the best of the best. His sound continued to grow, and he kept feeding his fans with new music. During his musical career, he did have beefs, several rap beefs. More notably, one with the rapper Tyga. The rap beef with Tyga was joined by the West Coast rapper The Game. Lil Durk dissed him in the Chirac remix with Meek Mill and Shy Glizzy, saying that Tyga only got one name, he ain't got one strike. That's a blatant diss. I have no idea why he dissed him, but he dissed him.
So I'm just like standing my ground. Like where I'm from, we don't like run.
Man
we
up.
stand up. Yeah, especially for us being in another city and on the come up, we can't let nobody do that to us. You know, we just holler at them like, man, like we just want to see what it is type, like see what we stand in type.
Yeah.
The rap beef opened up more mainstream eyes, but his street beefs propelled his name and his image. During his rap career, he also lost L.A. Capone, Newski, Chino, and many other peers of his. A lot of his opponents passed away too, more notably FBG Mooski and FBG Duck, who are the gangster disciples. You can hear him, quote unquote, sing the song, How High I Get, High as Duck. Ironically, the individuals that got caught up for the murder of FBG Duck were from the O Block section, a neighborhood where Chief Keef's from. I don't think it's a coincidence. Conspiracy says Durk set him up with his brother D-Thing. He was even killed while he was performing in the show in Florida. I don't think it's a coincidence his brother passed away. After leaving Def Jam, Durk was now a free agent and re-released Just Cause Y'all Could Wait in 2018. The mixtape became Durk's first non-album project to appear on the Billboard charts. Durk began to release his Sign to the Streets series. Lil Durk's fourth studio album was released on August 2nd, 2019. It served as a sequel to his mixtape, Love Song for the Streets. The album peaked number 4 on the Billboard 200 in the United States. Again, while every year Lil Durk slowly got better and better, even though while everybody else plateaued.
I'm saying these two artists from Chicago who signed the OTF. So,
Okay, so that's Book right
Book
there.
is 600 and King Von. So
In the year 2018, while Durk was finding himself, he signed fellow O Block rapper King Von, with Durk rebranding himself as an indie artist and as a boss himself. King Von was the perfect label mate, coming home fresh out of jail, being fresh out the street, and having a reputation as a gangster superseding himself. It kept Durk in sync with the streets. It's said that Von was a well-known killer, and he's beat several murder charges, has several bodies that the streets know about. Von's single Crazy Story was released on December 6, 2018. It became his breakout single, reaching number 81 on the Billboard Hot 100, with Von blowing up and Durk re-emerging. This transcended his OTF record label, and it started a new movement. In February 2019, Lil Durk was involved with a shooting in Atlanta. He faced criminal charges with Von. While out on bail, he released his fourth studio album, Love Song for the Streets, in August of that year. The release became his first to chart in the top 5. On August 14th, 2020, Lil Durk was featured on Canadian Drake's single, Laugh Now, Cry Later. It debuted at number 2 on the Hot Billboard 100, becoming Durk's first top 40 and top 10 entry and his highest charted song, Who Shiesty Black and Blood. He closed the year on the feature on that song, which charted also. And he ended the year with his 6th album, The Voice, which peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Top 200. Years later, his highest charted song was his own song featuring J. Cole with All My Life. We can't forget in that year 2020, he came out with a collaborative album, Lil Baby, Voice of the Heroes, and it became his first album to top the chart. His 7th album, 7/2020, in 2022 became his 2nd to do also, and it spawned multiple Billboard Hot Top 40 songs. His 8th album, Almost Healed, peaked at number 3. And he eventually won a Grammy for the best melodic rap performance. for the song All My Life. We can't forget Durk made an appearance on Kanye's 10th studio album, Donda, in August 2021. Safe to say, Durk was reaching a higher level. Coming from the section of Chicago, he was clearly Chicago's best talent. In the year 2020, a fight broke out in the parking lot of the Monaco Hookah Lounge during the pandemic on Trinity Ave in the city of Atlanta. It sparked a shootout between two groups. King Von attacked Quando Rondo due to personal issues. King Von was shot and killed in the city of Atlanta after the fight broke out. Lil Tum, Quando Rondo's associate, shot King Von in retaliation for the brawl. The issue stemming from the brawl came about from NBA YoungBoy and King Von over a female, allegedly. The dispute turned deadly and caused a dramatic rift between Lil Durk and NBA YoungBoy, with Quando Rondo being signed to NBA YoungBoy's label, and of course Von being signed to Lil Durk. The internet has naturally proclaimed war between the two heavyweight artists. Fans consistently trolling under the comments, "Slide for Von." It doesn't take rocket scientists to see that the parties had a feud. With the internet emerging, Lil Durk didn't even know what happened until he was on live and seeing the fans commenting that King Von got shot. A few years later, Quando Rondo was shot at and his cousin was killed beside him in LA. It was intended for Quando, it said. All these parties was cool at one point. Now Durk and Rondo, and even Von and Rondo and YoungBoy.
And Rondo, of course.
Yeah, now Rondo, man, what's his situation?
Man, his case looking real good. His appeal looking real good.
Okay. Do you talk to him a lot?
Every day.
Every day?
He called every day.
Now, again, nobody knew what happened to Quando at the time of the movement, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that this was a retaliation. On October 23rd, 2024, Kevon Grant, DeAndre Wilson, Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and Asa Houston, all affiliates of Lil Durk's OTF record label, were arrested and had been indicted on charges including conspiracy to commit murder for hire, committing murder for hire involving a death, the use of a machine gun in a violent crime resulting in a death, in connection with the August 22 shooting of Quando Rondo and the death of Lil Pub, Quando's cousin. The shooting was allegedly revenge for the death of King Von, with prosecutors noting that flights and rental cars for the 5 men were paid for with a credit card tied to the OTF label. The following day, October 24th, Lil Durk was arrested in Broward County by the United States Marshal concerning an alleged murder for hire plot. According to online resources, a member of his team, OTF Jam, had been secretly recording conversations while being wired. This informant, they said, he was facing pressure, reportedly exposed several elements of the plot, including offers of the music industry opportunities as a payment for the hit. The context of the alleged plot involves a web of retaliation stemming from the past violent encounters, notably for the murders of King Von and subsequently incidents connected to Quando Rondo. Records of prosecutors allege that Durk hired 5 men to take part in the shooting in exchange for money and lucrative music opportunities to anyone who would murder Quando Rondo. Durk is to be extradited for Broward to California to face the charges. And he faces the death penalty if convicted and held without bail. As news broke out in the investigation, Cook County Village, the mayor of Chicago, announced that his disassociation from Durk and his foundation, Neighborhood Heroes, resending his keys to the city, which he was awarded a week prior. This sparks a lot of issues because you can see in several interviews, such as $1 Million Worth of Game, where Wilo's telling Durk to give forgiveness to the killers of anybody who did to him wrong, as he did with his own brothers.
Chicago rapper Lil Durk could be linked to a second murder for hire plot, this time in Chicago. These are images of the gunman who shot and killed Stefan Mack in 2022.
Newly unsealed court records link the embattled rapper Durk, already facing murder for hire charges in LA, to the 2022 shooting of an alleged gang leader, Stephen Mack, outside a community center on the south side of Chicago. The Tribune said the court records alleged that Banks was the mastermind behind the murder for hire plot targeting Mack in retaliation for the murder of his brother Dante Banks, aka Dite. The Tribune said federal investigators were able to link the duo who was arrested earlier to Banks using text messages, phone calls, and social media posts. Although he hasn't been charged, he's under the watch of the federal government for another crime. As Lil Durk's career flourishes, so does his impact on the rap industry and the lives of his fans. Uncovering the ongoing battle he faces between the allure of the stardom and the street rules as he strives to remain authentic while navigating the demands of fame. We witness his personal growth and redemption as he transcended through the boundaries of drill music and embraces his role as a mentor and advocate for change. Through controversies, collaborations, and personal triumphs, Lil Durk's journey unfolds with authenticity and resilience. His story delves deep into his musical evolution, from his mixtapes to signing with record labels to the Grammys, showcasing his growth as an artist and profound impact he has on the rap industry. Although in the songs All My Life, he says the media paints him as a menace and it seemed like he was changing. It's safe to say it was a little bit too late. The rap culture has been tainted and polluted with violence and retaliation and ego and pride. We had to put aside to this as we learned from the Lil Durk story. Worked all these years to reach the top just to go back to the bottom while fighting a case in jail with the federal government. Free Lil Durk.